right, hi, I'm Sue Bates, and I'm showing today how to do the recycled or reusable out of recycled material snack bags. And this is some of the samples, and I actually have snacks in there. If I could share them with everybody, but it'd be hard through the camera. This is what I'm going to be demonstrating is how to melt these grocery bags together and make the inside lining so that it is waterproof. There is controversy, and everybody will have to decide on their own what they feel is food safe. There's a lot of articles online about it. What I do is I melt the grocery bags, but then I put one of these food safe bags over it and melt that on. But again, if you're heating the plastic, and so some people say then it becomes then not food safe. There's also this material, if any of you are familiar with pull. They usually use it for like diaper liners, bibs for babies, and it comes like fabric, but it's got a plastic coating on it. Again, there's controversy online about whether that's food safe or not. So I did put on the printout the place that you can buy online, and it's called ProSoft. That one is the only one that actually has a food safe label on it. So it's up to you. Most people say once you've heated this and then let it cool. I've actually washed these two in the washing machine, and then I put food in it. So, you know, again, it's everybody's preference. But anyways, so we have the iron I use set on wool. You don't want it real hot on the highest temperature because you can actually burn these too. So I'm gonna move, oh, this is just some other sample things of what I've done with it. This is a sandwich wrapper that's also made with that same inside lining. And we used this on our trip when we went to our chalet, and that was very handy. And then this one, like I said, was just with the pull material. That's a different style. These two are the same style. So this is the style we're going to work on today. Hi, hey, any questions so far? All right, so what I do is I usually will use 4 or 5 grocery bags, which we have tons of right now with grocery shopping, and they weren't using the reusable for a while. So what I do is I take and I use a dull blade, not a dull blade, but a used blade. I wouldn't use a new blade on this because it's going to, you know, not be as effective for your material. So I cut off my handles, and I save all my scraps, and I put them in a bag, and I take them to the recycle bin in the grocery store, just like I would regular plastic bags. Because again, they're gonna melt it all back down again. So why throw it all in the trash? All right, and then I'm gonna cut the bottom off. And I open up my bag. And I don't need the printed part on this. If I was doing like the sandwich wrapper, that one we did take letters and words and wrote inside, but on these snack bags, we don't need it. So, okay, so I have this, and then you do it to each of your bags. Your handles off, bottoms. They don't have to be neat or squared or anything, because we're going to do that after we we press it all. Is anyone doing it while I'm demonstrating, or are you all gonna try this later? Okay, so I've got 3, I need 1 more. All right. This bag here is one I like sometimes if I'm doing the wrappers, because it says thank you on it. But the bags I usually use are obviously these white bags, but market basket bags are good. Joann's now has writing on both sides, so that doesn't always work. Target, sometimes their bags are good, but most anything, any plastic recyclable bag will work. Okay, so I'm going to start with a piece of parchment paper on the bottom, and I'm going to put one on the top, because you don't want to be pressing obviously right on the plastic. It will adhere to your iron, and then that won't be a good thing. So I lined up my layers, and I sandwiched them between the parchment paper. My iron is set on wool setting, which seems to work best for my iron, but you have to test yours to see what heating level works best. And you want the steam off. You don't want steam on this. And then we're just going to press lightly. And you got to keep testing it and see what works. But see, it's already starting to melt together here. And I have some samples. See, now like here is when it's been melted too much, how it gets kind of holes in it. You don't want that. And see, here's a good melt to it, that it's all sticking around the edges. And again, this is, so this is my ends that I've cut off. And those I can recycle too. If I'm not going to use them for any project, I just put them in my recycle bag. So, okay. Just keep moving your parchment paper down. Melting. And you don't have to get right to the very ends, because we're going to obviously cut this to the size that we need. Now I flip it over sometimes to make sure it's, that it's sticking well. This is like the magic part, to see how this comes together. For whatever reason, this one bag is not sticking very well. So it could be a type of plastic that's just not as compatible with this. Okay. So there we have our plastic lining. And then we need to add what I say the food safe side of it. So I cut a hefty bag. You can cut off the top zip strip, open it up. I just use a single layer of it. So I'm going to center that on there. I'm going to press that on. And this one takes a little bit more pressing because it's a little. Not sticking as well. Well, I'm going to turn up just a little bit. Melt it on there better. See, just need my iron just a little bit warmer. Okay. All right. So then I'm going to bring my worksheet over here. And we have for this pattern that we used a 7 by 15, both our material, which I already cut a piece of that, and for my lining. The material, if it has directional, you want to make sure, like this, I thought, well, I'd have the Scouts part facing up. So you've got to make sure that when you fold it up, that it is going in the right direction. Okay, so that's only if you're using with one directional material. This one, it didn't really matter which way I turned it. So, okay, so now, any questions? Do you have it muted off?
No.
Yeah. So I'm going to cut this 7 by 15. Okay. Mm, 15. Okay. I'm just going to press it a little bit more because my edges still aren't sticking real good. Once you cut it though, you don't want to press it too much because it does shrink a little bit as you press. And that will throw off your measurements. All right. Okay, so now we're going to line up right side. So this is where I have my hefty bag on the top. So that's what would be considered my right side. And then I'm going to line it up. Oh, I must have cut it wrong. I cut one of my pieces wrong, 7 by 15. I did. There you go. 7 by 15. Trash.
If you're using the pulp fabric, do you put the Ziploc bag on it as well?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
If you're using the pulp fabric, do you use the Ziploc bag also, or just the fabric?
I use the fabric still too, because the pull fabric is kind of plain on the back, and also the fabric gives it a little bit of stability.
No,
So
I'm sorry. I mean, do you use the Ziploc bag also?
The Ziploc, oh, not with the pull fabric, I don't, no. Because I don't iron on the pull fabric.
Yeah.
So I would use that just as a lining material. This is washable, but I wouldn't iron it because this will melt. But you can use it just as fabric though. So like when they make bibs or diaper liners, the same thing. They usually put fabric on the outside and then use this as the liner on the inside. So, and this you can get at a lot of your craft stores. Joann's has it, but depending on who you talk to in Joann's, some say it is food safe, some say it isn't, and even Joann's website doesn't guarantee that it's food safe. It's non-toxic, so there's a difference. It is non-toxic, but it's not necessarily food safe for storing food in it, is what the controversy is over it. So, okay, so then you put your material face together. And this is where I was saying you don't want to use pins in this because you don't want to be poking into the plastic. You want to just have your stitching line and that's it. So you can use clips to hold it down, binding clips. You can use bobby pins, anything that's not going to tear into the material. I have fabric clips that you can buy these at quilt stores, other binding clips. So whatever you have, whatever you're comfortable with using. So I just put a few around. Okay, so what this is, all right, we've cut our fabric. So we've done number 1, and then we're gonna mark our, actually I'm gonna, which one did I have as my top? This is my top. I'm gonna move this down just a little. And then to get the curved edge of the snack bag here, we just take a dinner plate and we mark our stitching line.
Dee Dee said she got those same clips from Amazon when she started quilting.
Oh, okay, yep. Yeah, you can get a lot of it from Amazon too.
And then Kay said, is there a list of materials anywhere?
There was a handout sent in an email, but I'm not sure. I guess we'd have to ask Dee Dee that question, how for them to get a copy of the printout again.
Hi, I'm here. I can go ahead and send Katie after, probably on Monday, material list. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks. So I'm gonna just start sewing on, okay, so this is gonna be my top. I'm gonna start actually somewhere down here near the bottom. And we're gonna sew a 1/4 inch all the way around, leaving about a 2-inch opening is enough so that we can turn it when we're done. And I always start and back, hold it in. It's best to sew with the your plastic side down on your feed dogs. It goes through a little bit better. And then I'm gonna sew on the curve. Now I have a 1/4 inch foot on my machine too, so that helps with guiding. But if you don't have a 1/4 inch foot, you can always mark on your machine where the 1/4 inch mark is. All right, so this is, and I sewed it a little bit close, so I'm gonna have to open that up just a little bit. So I went too close to my turning area. There we go. All right, so this is step 3, is where we stitch all the way around and use the 2-inch opening. Now I'm going to use my fabric scissors, cut, leave about a 1/4 inch mark. You don't have to clip it necessarily because it's such a gradual turn, but I would trim your corners a little bit so that it's not so bulky when you go to turn that out. Okay. So you're going to turn the bag right side out. And then you can use the end of a pencil, the eraser, to help push it out, or you can use scissors, blunt edge end of the scissors. Chopsticks work well if you have any chopsticks to push out the edges. And so it just takes a little bit to okay. And then I take it back to the iron a little bit.
Katie, oops, sorry. Katie said, have you tried making the lining with that indoor/outdoor tablecloth / umbrella / upholstery fabric?
I haven't tried using that, only because I wasn't sure if that was even food safe either. I don't know if it made a difference. And where that was used on furniture outside, I just went with the things that were more apt to be, like, we know we put food in grocery bags, so I kind of went with that. But you certainly could investigate that and look at it. That's a nice heavy duty material, and And I would assume that that would be waterproof. For it. I wouldn't put liquid things in here at all. Like even, I would make sure if I wash my grapes that I dry them off before I put them in, so you don't have all the moisture in it. But I put strawberries and grapes in it. But I do use it a lot for crackers and cookies and more that kind of thing. And you also don't want to put these in the washing machine a lot. You want to mostly wash it by hand and then periodically throw them in the washing machine. But I have washed these already a couple times, and so they hold up for a while. I don't know how long. I haven't had them for a long time, but okay. So now, so we've turned our bag right side out, which is step number 4, and press the edges. So I did press under this little bit here, that where our opening was. You don't need to stitch that yet because we're going to do that in our final steps of the bag.
Katie asked, what setting is your iron on for that last bit you said?
It's still on the wool setting. Oh, it's a little bit above, but yeah, mine's on wool. Because I find with this iron, if I have it all the way up, it's too hot. So you do have to play around with your iron to kind of figure out what heat level works better. And sometimes, you know, I have had a lot that haven't worked either. So, but that's why you have plenty of bags that you can keep trying. So, okay. Now, some people, and most of the directions say to use the full strip of Velcro. I find that it's really, I mean, just the half, I think, sticks well enough. And I'm thinking of, you know, for people that are using these for kids even, it's like, I don't think it's, I think it's harder for them to pull it apart when it's the full strip. So anyways, I cut it in half, but it's totally, again, your preference. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we're gonna take our piece. Oh, I did put my hefty label because I had the hefty one I was using on it at the bottom of the bag, because nobody's gonna see it inside the pocket, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to be folding this up. So the first thing we need to measure is the half of the bag. And then we're going to fold down the top a quarter of the way. So this is going to be our flap. Okay. And I'm going to center this on that top quarter. And I can use, and this is tricky part because of course it's much further in, but sometimes a bobby pin reaches it enough, or you just kind of hold it in place, or whatever works for you for getting the strip sewn on. But again, you don't want to use pins on it because it will, yeah. And I just take, again, on my needle too, I am using a used needle. I wouldn't put a new needle in my machine to sew on the plastic and the Velcro because you're really dulling the needle going through these materials. So this is, I use the rough part of the Velcro on the top and on the bottom. So this is how the bag's gonna go. It's like this. I didn't get it quite straight, but that's okay. I measure it against this, bring it down to get my placement on there. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other end. So I kind of did that fast. I don't know if everybody saw that. So I'm folding down my flap and making sure my soft part of my Velcro now is on the bottom half of the bag. Okay. And we're gonna stitch that on. Cut off my. Okay, so we have the Velcro on each end. All right. And let's see. So we've done step 5 was folding down a quarter of a way. Step 6 is your Velcro. And then we're going to, number 7 is the putting the bottom Velcro on and then fold up our bag. So that I'm going to use clips again. Make sure I got it lined up. And I'm going to clip my sides. And this is where you want to make sure that that folded edge is in of where you turned your bag. Okay? Because you're going to want to catch that in your stitching. Okay. And I just start at one of the corners. This you want to do like a top stitch, so you don't want to put your 1/4 inch mark. I would do like even an 1/8 inch maybe. You want to get right near the edge. And I back stitch it there. It's a little thick to get it through at the beginning. Stitch up the edge. And then when you get to the top of the bag, you want to back stitch again, 1 or 2 times to secure it in there. And then continue sewing up around. See, now this is something you'd have to watch for, is I did not get the hefty bag all the way to the very top. So that was not a good demonstration, but you want to make sure obviously that your piece is covering all the way into your bag area. All right, and then you want to catch that next time, and you want to back stitch it a couple times. And continue sewing down the edge. It's not necessary to stitch across the bottom. And then trim off my threads. And there's your snack bag. And it's all done. Oh, I did add on my paper, it's not on the original printout, but some people suggest too washing these in a mesh bag in your laundry, and that way the Velcro doesn't stick to other things and it does protect a little bit more. But I did wash these just in, you know, with my laundry, and they were fine. They didn't stick. So I wouldn't put these in the dryer because again, you've heat pressed these and that. I would air dry them, and these were all air dried. They were not put in the dryer. I haven't tried if you put them in the dryer, what would happen? So you could experiment. The what?
They probably melt more, the
Yeah.
plastic.
They probably would. So I wouldn't do that. But you know, you can just wipe them clean with a cloth. You can turn them inside out to wash them, you know, to wipe them down. And it saves on using baggies for lunches all the time. And any questions? No questions? I don't know if I have anything else to add to it, but it's fun to experiment and play around with it. Of course, you can use any fabrics. I would use 100% cotton. I wouldn't use certainly any like silky materials or anything like that. They do suggest that you use a polyester thread because it's less likely to wick than a cotton thread. But again, I personally don't put things in here that are going to be with a lot of moisture in that. So, you know, wouldn't make a difference. You could use a cotton thread then, but it depends on what your purpose is that you're going to be using these for. So, I mean, the real trick and the magic obviously is getting your plastic bags to fit together. Like I said, the market basket ones seem to work the best, but I've used various other ones too, as long as they're white bags usually. Or you can use colored bags, I suppose. I haven't really tried much with the colored bags. I don't know if they stick as well together. So, the thing with the Pro Soft that is advertised as food safe, and you can find it on the website. You just Google it, Pro Soft or food safe pull material, but it does come 60 wide. So I didn't order any because you'd have to make a lot of bags. So if you were doing with a troop, that would work well to order that much material, or if you're doing with a large group, then definitely you might want to try that product instead. But that was the only one I could find that was actually advertised as food safe. But again, you know, putting crackers, I wouldn't, you know, put anything. And do not microwave these. Don't you know, like heat a muffin in the microwave with it or anything like that. These are not to be used for that kind of material process. And then I definitely think it would be not a non-toxic.
No hot foods.
Yes, no hot foods. And obviously no metals in it. So anyways, any other questions?
No questions.
No.
It was very well. I enjoyed this. I can't wait to make my own.
Oh, there you go. Well, thank you. Yeah, they're fun to do. I've done quite a few for people. And
Have you done this with the girls?
I haven't done it with the girls. No, I've made it for my grandchildren and that, but I have not done it with any troops. I would assume, I mean, obviously it would have to be your older girls because of, you know, using the irons and that, but you know, your juniors could do it with some help, I would assume. But that's really the only part is, I mean, the rest of it, they certainly could, if they're working with a machine. We've had second and third graders working on sewing machines, teaching them to sew, but just that melting the plastic part would be a little bit more adult supervision, obviously, with the juniors. But yeah, we've locally we've taught at the library to second and third graders how to sew, so they certainly could sew this type of a pouch. no problem. So,
Very good. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And it's all straight stitching, so that makes it easy too.
Mhm.
And, you know, I mean, you can make these too out of both material on both sides and use it for other purposes. It doesn't have to be necessarily for a snack bag. I mean, they could put their jewelry in there. They could put, you know, any little trinkets they have. They could put, you know, even their money in there or whatever.
They could make their own little first aid kits.
They could make little first aid kits with it. Yeah, so you don't have to do the plastic lining. You could do this same model with, you know, 2 types of material as well. And, but again, though, I wouldn't use a stretchy material. I would use more of a cotton. 100% cotton is just so forgiving in many ways and easy to work with, and that it won't stretch for your curves and your bias. So, and you can get so many beautiful colors and prints. So, but yeah, so just again too, if you're going to be doing it with a directional print, you know, just to make sure what direction you want the either words or pictures to go in for your sample.
That
So,
lines up nicely with the curve. The bag.
yes, it does. Scouts. It does. Yeah. Yeah, this was some Girl Scout material. I think I got this at Joann's a while ago when they had the Girl Scout material out. So, yeah, so it would be a great project for the kids. So,
Great. Thank
all
you
right.
so much, Sue.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah.
I hope everyone could see it well. Yeah.
That was great. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Nice to see everyone.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
All
And
right.
enjoy your sewing.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.